Chapter 4, looking at ecosystems and energy. So ecosystems falls under this branch of science called ecology. And ecology is the study of the interactions between organisms with one another and the non-living environment. Within ecosystems, there are many different interactions. Now here the two pictures that I have here are of insects, and my question to you is, what role do you think that insects play in an ecosystem? If you said that they are the pollinators, you would be correct. That is one aspect that insects play in an ecosystem. Pollinators being the middleman between plants having sex. So you have a male plant that has pollen, and it needs to fertilize a female plant that has the carpel, which will eventually turn into the seed, and the insects transfer that pollen or plant sperm to the female plant. Now remember back in Chapter 2 when we talked about science and what scientists do and how they like to categorize and unify different bodies of knowledge. Well, here within ecosystems, looking at the different levels of biological organization, we'll start down here, down below, looking at the most basic unit, the organism. All right, the single individual. Now, multiple individuals of the same species, as we go up, are in those groups of the same species are what is known as populations. Then when you have multiple populations in a certain area together, we call those communities. So communities are all the living things in a certain area. So here we've got different living things, like we have a human sitting on a horse, a bird, a prairie dog, some deer, some trees in the background, some different grasses, and those are the communities, all the living things. Now, when you jump up to ecosystems, you include all the living things, but also you bring in this other aspect, the non-living. So ecosystem is both the living and the non-living. And can you give me some examples here of non-living things? If you said soils, air, probably can't see it, but water, rock, those are some good examples of non-living. Now, if you can remember back to your biology class, what are the terms that we give to living things or non-living things? If you said for living things, biotic, and non-living, abiotic, you're correct. Now, for the largest scale within this ecosystem or ecology realm is known as the biosphere. And the biosphere is the interaction of all the different ecosystems interacting with each other. So you could think of the world as being the biosphere. Now, looking at this abiotic and biotic aspects of ecology, what key factors do you think a certain thing has to have to be considered biotic or living? So what are the characteristics of life? What does something have to be considered living? Well, one, they have to be made of cells. They have to have cellular organization. They also have to have metabolism, where they consume energy and then also use energy. Homeostasis, where they try to keep some type of normal consistency within themselves to dealing with the outside environment, possibly changing outside environment. Reproduction, they have to be able to reproduce and make more of themselves. And then heredity. What is heredity? Heredity is the inherited genetics that you inherited from your parents. So you are made up of 50% your mom, 50% your dad. Remember that? DNA and genetics from biology. And then you too will pass on that heredity if you are to have offspring. So over here on the side, I've got this nice pie chart looking at all the different known species. And look, how many known species are there? There's only about 1.4 million species that are described or known. How many do you think they are? Do you think that we've seen all of them? The ocean's a very big place. I'm sure there are some that we have not found, and there are. There are many that are discovered every day. So there are about 1.4 million. Some scientists say that there could be about 3 to 4 million. Some say there could be about estimate about 10 million, and some estimate even upwards as many as 10 million. Now, out of the whole life category, which one is the most diverse? Take a look over here, insects. Now, insects seem to have the most diversity, have the most known or quantity of species out of any other category of living things. So we have other animals here, looking at mammals, birds, larger organisms, fungus. Okay, we have decomposers, prokaryotes. What are those? Those are bacteria. What is it about prokaryotes that make them prokaryotes? Then we have plants, and then protista. What are protista? Protista are single-cell eukaryotes. Remember eukaryotes from prokaryotes. And what is it about eukaryotes and prokaryotes that make them what they are?